If you woke up on January 1st with exactly $0 in your bank account, no investments, no backup, and no rich parents on speed dial, that's not a motivational quote scenario. That's a fire alarm. People keep asking, Elon, what would you do if you lost everything and had to start in America again with nothing? The answer is not manifest abundance or think positive. The answer is a very specific, brutally practical sequence of moves. I've slept on factory floors, worked 100-hour weeks, and watched companies almost die multiple times. If I had to start 2026 at $0, there's a clear first principles plan that gets you from broke and panicking to dangerous in the market, not theory. Just physics applied to money and time. In this video, I'm going to walk you through that plan step by step, month by month, dollar by dollar. You're going to see exactly what I would do in America, starting from zero. And here's the twist. Most people think the problem is that they don't have money. That's not the real problem. The real problem is they're running someone else's script. They're in what I call worker mode sue trading time for survival, not building anything that compounds. By the end of this video, you'll know how to flip that, how to survive the first 90 days without collapsing, how to turn your skills into cash at the highest possible rate, how to build your first mini mode of security, and how to start shifting from worker to owner in under a year. If you're expecting a soft, feel-good answer, you should probably click away. If you're okay hearing that you'll need to work more than 40 hours a week and make some ruthless decisions, stay. This might be the most useful 15 minutes you spend all year. Let's start with something uncomfortable. If I had $0 in 2026, I wouldn't feel afraid. I'd feel urgency. There's a difference. Fear freezes you. Urgency gives you direction. Most people with $0 are paralyzed. They doom scroll, complain about the economy, argue in comment sections, and then go to sleep exhausted, having changed nothing. So here's rule number 1 of this entire plan. You stop being a spectator today. You're not watching the economy. You're playing on the field with whatever you have Sendai, even if what you have right now is just time, an internet connection, and a brain. That's a bit underused. Now let's talk physics. If you're at $0, you're not in a wealth problem yet. You're in an energy problem. You have no stored energy, money. So you have to produce more energy income than you consume expenses. And you have to do it fast enough and long enough that some of it can be stored and then multiplied. That's the whole game. Everything else is details. So here's the exact plan, broken into phases, not as some guru, but in the same logic I use when building companies. Phase 1, stop the leak and extend your runway. If I'm starting at $0, my first question is not, what should I invest in? My first question is, how many weeks until I run out of oxygen? In America, oxygen is cash flow. Day 1, I would brutally simplify my life. No apartment. I can't pay cash from month to month. No car payment. If I have a car with a loan, I'm selling it and buying the cheapest reliable used car I can, or using public transport until I can't squeeze another dollar of productivity out of it. No subscriptions that aren't helping me make money. No Netflix. No random apps. No micro luxuries that quietly kill your options. People will say, but that's not a life. You know what's really not a life? Being permanently one missed paycheck away from chaos. For 90 days, your lifestyle is not the product. Your future is the product. The goal of Phase 1 is simple. Drive your fixed monthly costs down, as low as they can realistically go. Buy yourself time. If I can extend my runway from 2 weeks to 6 weeks to 3 months, I've just increased the number of shots I can take. Now, while that's happening, we start Phase 2 in parallel. Phase 2, work like hell for it, but with direction. There's a quote people like to post from me. Work like hell, 80, 90, 100 hours a week. If others are working 40 and you're working 80, you'll accomplish in 6 months what takes them a year. They post it as motivation. They forget the important part. You have to point that effort at the right vector. If I had to start at $0, I'd do this. First, I would sell my time at the highest price the market will currently pay for me. Not my dream job, not my passion. Whatever pays the most, per H, are that I can get into quickly, sales with commission, technical support, manual work, gig platforms, foodie, anything that starts cash flowing this week. Second, I'd stack one primary job to cover basic survival, one side hustle or freelance track in the evenings that is skill-dense dev, meaning every hour I work, I'm getting better at something that scales: coding, copywriting, design, video editing, sales, operations. Third, I target 70-90 hours a week, but with a clear hierarchy: survival cash first, skill building cash second, everything else is optional or deleted. This is where most people tap out mentally. They'll say, that's burnout. What they miss is the time horizon. I'm not saying do this for 10 years. I'm saying do it for 1 year to change the baseline of your entire life. If you're at $0 and you're not willing to have a hard mode year, you're not serious about getting out. Now, if we do this right, within 60-90 days, something interesting happens. You're no longer at zero. You might have $1,000, $2,000, maybe $3,000 saved. That's not wealth. That's proof of control. And that leads to phase 3. Phase 3, build a safety buffer before chasing returns. This is the part where almost everyone on the internet gives you bad advice. They'll tell you, start investing immediately. Let your money work for you. If you're at $0, your money is not ready for a job interview. If I had, say, $3,000 saved by month 3 or 4, I would not put it into stocks yet. I'd build what I think of as a non-fragile zone, a few months of basic expenses and cash, in a boring high-yield savings account. Why? Because if you invest your first few $1,000s and then your car dies or your boss fires you, you're going to panic sell at the worst possible time and go right back to zero. People call an emergency fund wasted potential. They've never watched a company die because it ran out of runway by 1 week. Cash is not the enemy. Fragility is the enemy. So the target for this phase is very specific. Get to the point where you could survive at least 3 months with no income. 6 months is better. That's your personal runway extension. Once you have that, your brain starts working differently. You stop making every decision from fear. Only then do we move to phase 4. Phase 4, upgrade your code furry, invest in skills, not symbols. At this stage, you have a brutally lean cost structure, one main income stream, the beginning of a second, a small but real emergency buffer. Now most people rush to symbols of wealth, stocks, crypto, watches, cars. That's costume play. If I'm rebuilding from zero, my best investment is not Tesla stock. It's the version of me that could build the next Tesla. So I would take the next few $1,000s and ask one simple question. What upgrade to my brain or my tools would permanently raise my hourly rate? That might be a serious online course or boot camp in a high-leverage skill, software engineering, AI tools, automation, high-level sales, or operations. Better hardware, a good laptop if I don't have one. Access to rooms I'm not in yet. Conferences, meetups, industry communities. The filter is first to principles. Can this skill or tool increase my earning power by at least a few $1,000s per year? Can it be stacked with where the world is going for AI, automation, electrification, space, biotech, robotics? If the answer is no, it's a hobby. If the answer is yes, it's an investment. A lot of people say college is dead or degrees are useless. That's oversimplified. The point is not the certificate. The point is whether it upgrades your underlying code. After 6-9 months of this, you're not the same person who started at $0. You're a higher bandwidth node in the economy. Now you're ready for phase 5. Phase 5, shift from pure worker to partial owner. At some point, if you want real freedom, you have to stop being 100% dependent on selling your hours. In my world, that meant building companies and owning equity. In your world starting from zero, that can mean a few things. Taking a role where part of your comp is equity or profit share instead of just salary, ideally at a company that's actually doing something non-stupid. Starting a tiny, highly focused product or service on the side Timmy Tevin, something that can earn while you sleep. A simple SaaS, a paid newsletter, an info product that actually solves a real problem, a niche agency where you can eventually hire. Or yes, starting to put a portion of your surplus into broad, low-cost index funds that own pieces of many productive companies. The key idea is ownership. If I'm at 12 months and still trading every dollar strictly for an hour of time, I've missed the point. The goal in year one is not to become rich. The goal is to stop being fragile, become extremely employable, start being an owner of something that compounds. If you do this right, your financial graph, after year one, doesn't look like a lottery ticket. It looks like the first 5% of an exponential curve, and that's where you want to be. Now let's zoom out. What does this actually look like chronologically? Here's the compressed version of the $0 in 2026 plan. First 30 days, cut spending to the bone. Get any job that pays you quickly. Stack extra work in nights and weekends. Goal: positive cash flow. Small buffer, ruthless clarity on your numbers. Days 30 and 90. Ramp hours up. Target 70 and 90 hour weeks temporarily. Direct surplus cash into a basic emergency buffer. Goal: first $2,000, $5,000 saved, even if that sounds impossible right now. Months 4-6. Stabilize a minimum 3-month emergency fund based on your Bory Bones lifestyle. Keep costs low, even as income rises. Goal: non-fragile base. You can handle a bad month without collapsing. Month 6 and 9. Invest cash and time into skill and tool. Upgrades that raise your earning ceiling, AI literacy, technical skills, sales. Goal: your hourly value is materially higher than it was in January. Months 9-12. Start shifting part of your effort and money toward ownership, saving equity, small scalable projects, or simple diversified investments. Goal: go into 2027, not just as a harder worker, but as an emerging owner. None of this is easy, but it is simple. Most people won't do it. They'll watch this, nod, and then go back to the exact pattern that got them to $0 in the first place. They'll tell themselves a story about the economy, or the government, or the rich, and some of that might even be true fisty. But it doesn't change the physics. If you work 40 distracted hours a week on low-value tasks, copy what everyone else is doing, and avoid any risk that might make you uncomfortable, you are choosing a linear, fragile life. If you work 70-90 focused hours for 1 year, upgrade your skills, lower your burn, and start owning productive assets, you are choosing an exponential, anti-fragile life. One of those paths might feel safer in the moment. The other one actually gets you out. So if you're starting 2026 with $0, you have a choice. You can treat this year like every other year. Few resolutions, and then nothing, or you can treat it like a launch window. A 12-month sprint where you stop being a spectator, stop being only a worker, and start acting like the engineer of your own life. If that's the path you want, you already know the steps. Stop the leak, work like hell, but with direction. Build a buffer. Upgrade your code, shift from worker to partial owner. Do that for 1 year, and 12 months from now, you won't recognize your financial life. And that's not optimism. That's just math. If you want more of these breakdowns of FIDI, not generic motivation, but first principles blueprints for money, work, and using AI to multiply what you can do, subscribe. Drop your situation in the comments, and start your own countdown clock for the next 12 months. The future is being built either way. The only real question is whether you're just watching it or compounding in it.